axis here, it looks like they are trying to create a fire break to keep the fire from spreading, throughout the Pentagon. And it's been spreading from right to left, as you see the picture on the right, from the crater, and that's basically heading north. And firefighters here are trying to get this thing contained, and they haven't yet, 9 hours later. And again, until they do, take a look at that. This from Skyfox. Utter devastation here, and it's amazing because this sort of does look like the Murrah building in downtown Oklahoma City from 6 years ago. And if this alone happened today, it would be unbelievable. But then the pictures from New York, the Twin Towers, just totally dwarf this. But take a look. That's what Skyfox showed us earlier today from the Pentagon. This is not live. This was earlier, a couple hours ago, from Skyfox, and you can see the different layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers in. The different rings, they call them, leading into the atrium of the Pentagon. And the first 3, E, D, and C, were penetrated by the American airline jet and are still on fire. This a couple of hours ago, but still on fire at this hour, 9 hours later. So until they get this thing contained, they cannot go in and find out how many people were killed and may still be alive inside the Pentagon here. Just an incredible afternoon, incredible day here in Washington as well as New York, Tracy and Mike.
You're right, incredible is the word, Bob, and we're going to use your experience in Oklahoma as a reason to hold on to hope that perhaps even several hours after this, started this morning, that perhaps they can still find survivors as they did in the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma.
There was that 15-year-old girl who was trapped. They had to amputate her leg from concrete that had fallen on her. So perhaps, as difficult as it may seem looking at the picture, especially on the right, and on the left is the triage from earlier. This is the work that Skyfox is showing you on the left from earlier. This is where they set up an on-site emergency room, if you will, taking care of the injured here. So they were able to get to the people who got out of the building, but perhaps there are still, hard as it may seem to believe, looking at the crater that was left by this plane that was intentionally steered into the building here at the Pentagon. But there is a chance perhaps there are people alive in there, and boy, you just hope they're holding on, because they're not going to go in until they get this fire contained. And as we did learn in Oklahoma City, there were people that were pulled out of rubble even as devastating as this. That's amazing stuff from Skyfox.
It really is an exclusive view, because from high above you can get a real good sense of the devastation, Bob.
Yeah, and I know the authorities were not wanting media to get anywhere, and here is, you see they're looking either for evidence, obviously for evidence here, as the FBI, in fact, we were told earlier, is in charge of the investigation here as to what happened. And these are people obviously looking for evidence on the grounds just outside the building. But I'll tell you, that there could be people still alive in there, and they haven't gotten to them yet. And we just got to hope they can contain this fire 9 hours later that is still raging. And again, as I was mentioning, that it took some doing to get Skyfox in this position to take these exclusive pictures, but they obviously did a great job, and they are very telling pictures to show you a bird's eye view of what's going on here. This again a little bit earlier, but all the work being done outside the building in there, a view of the collapsed roof on the outer wing of this 5-sided building. And again, this area in particular was just recently renovated. They've been doing a lot of work, just recently renovated work. And so they had different military services moving into this area, and they frankly don't know who all was stationed in these offices that were destroyed this morning and are still on fire this afternoon. So that's why we don't have a count on how many people are victims of that devastation that we're seeing here. These exclusive pictures from Skyfox from about 2 hours ago over the Pentagon here. Just mortifying pictures.
Indeed they are. Bob Barnard, we thank you for that update from the Pentagon.
We understand that this video was shot while Skyfox was assisting law enforcement in trying to deal with this situation there. The pictures really are stunning, particularly in the wide shots. I mean, the close-up video we've seen pretty clearly, but when you get to see the perspective of how much damage was done there, it is just unbelievable.
It really is, and I'm going to pass along two bits of information as we stick with the Skyfox video. I want to let you know that the CIA will be open tomorrow. All employees are expected to report tomorrow, and also OPM says that federal offices in D.C. will be open tomorrow. Unscheduled leave is in effect. That is different from liberal leave, so unscheduled leave for federal workers tomorrow.
This video is hard to stop looking at. It's just so compelling and so unbelievable that it's taken place. But the video that we saw earlier today probably was the most heart-stopping I've seen as a journalist in 30-plus years. We were looking at the video.